Sometimes I do drugs. It's a good song, man.
We going?
Yeah, we're going.
Oh, that's going to be annoying.
Oh, if this chair breaks on me too. I forgot I ignored that comment when you said it last time. I didn't mean to, but when I watched through and I was editing it, we were talking about sitting crisscross applesauce Indian style. Who gives a fuck?
We're going to start some fucking controversy.
I know. We're talking about sitting cross-legged. How's that?
Butterfly style.
Now I don't sound like a racist or a 10-year-old.
How's my hair look?
Really bad and greasy. Yeah.
Oh, it's the fucking gel. My sister got me the stuff that makes me look greasy.
Yeah, I don't like it because I feel like I can't call you headband now.
I haven't worn a headband in so long.
It's been like 2 weeks.
So long.
Yeah. Should we cheers these edibles or
we
what?
should, but finish your story about the chair.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not even high yet.
I know. I'm fucking fat. I leaned back in my chair, and it just went like and fucking cracked. I was like, what the hell? And it was only on one side. And
at first.
Yeah, and I was like, I got to get a new chair now. And I put it off for a few days, and then I'm leaning back in it again, and then the other fucking side breaks. Oh,
someone needs to go on a diet.
I'm getting mad thinking about it. I actually just legitimately started my cut this week.
I've heard that one before.
No, I went down. Dude, I went down. I was 212 at my peak.
Is that the most you've ever weighed?
No, 220. 220 was the biggest I ever weighed.
Should have fucking got up there.
Dude, at 212, I look leaner. I mean, I don't look lean, but I looked leaner than I did the last time I was 200 back in like
no, you look fucking
2018. So I'm excited. I mean, now I'm already down to like 203 in a week of dieting. I just had
crazy.
I had a lot of water weight. I mean, I was eating a lot. Pretty much right when I like slowly dropped my calories. I got to my maintenance and I was like down 5 pounds. And I say maintenance I say that loosely because you can have there's kind of like there's a plus window. Or minus like 150 to 200 calories where it varies based on your activity and all that. But
makes you feel any better. I gained 16 pounds in 2 weeks after my show.
Yeah, that's nuts.
But I'm back down to 189.
Nice. Because you got up to 199, didn't you?
199.6.
That's wild. Because your stage weight was 184?
180.
No.
It was like between 182 and 183.
Okay. That's wild. Let's cheers these edibles, man.
I
got a little 10 milligrams
touch
on
them.
Touch our tips.
That's cute.
Just gingerly touch our tips.
Yeah, just very soft. I was going to mess up my Zen.
Yeah. Is this just regular chocolate?
It's like salted. I'm going to be picking this out of the Zen all podcast. Do you have Zen on?
No, I was going to ask you for one.
Fucking taking my fucking Chipotle, taking my edibles, taking my Zen.
I paid for Chipotle. So.
No. Shh. I don't even know that.
not in front of the listeners.
Yeah.
Dude, we have to come up with a name for our listeners, for us, for everyone in the 5-year plan cult. No, it's not a cult, but
it might be a cult.
Kind of. A cult that just loves fucking edibles and stimulants, man.
What does Call Her Daddy? What are they called?
Daddy Gang.
Daddy Gang?
Yeah.
And we can't do anything like
Crystalia calls his listeners babies.
That's funny.
It's
kind of degrading.
Yeah, he tells them like we're gonna meet in a log cabin out in the woods in like fucking Utah, and it's back. You gotta walk through the tall grass. And
Jesus!
There's a log cabin. He goes, we're all about fucking and sucking and exchanging ideas. Like that's a dream, man.
That is the dream. I mean, what can we call everyone?
I don't know. So if you're listening, if you're watching on YouTube, drop a comment. If you're listening, DM us, email us, whatever. Let us know what you think that we should call our team, our squad. I don't know. What do we?
We're a squad. It's a squad.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. We're definitely not going to be the planners. Could you imagine? All right, planners. Here's what we got for the podcast today. Might as well just call you guys fucking dweebs or nerds, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. We'd be dweebs for coming up with that.
I mean, we are dweebs.
A little bit.
You want to glug, glug, glug again?
So before we started recording, I was like, Zach, what if this is how I drank my water during the podcast? Stop laughing because I got to do this. All right, here we go. I'll try it again.
Fucking having an orgasm over there.
Oh, that water's good, man. It's fresh right out of my fucking...
Get a new fucking water bottle.
Right out of my bathroom faucet. Yeah, I lost my other one when I was playing softball. I'm kind of
I won't say you lost it, you forgot it.
Yeah, I left it. I'm kind of a big deal. If you guys didn't know, I play on a softball team now. So
I play on a volleyball team. I'm
yeah,
a bigger deal.
You start tonight. Well, it's Thursday. We're recording this. Who the fuck knows when we'll get this one out there?
Yeah,
Thursday
sometime.
was it the 10th? No masks in Chicago starting
tomorrow.
Yeah,
that's fucking crazy.
It's exciting. So even though,
I mean, to be fair, it's been maskless for me since we didn't require masks at work.
Yeah. Well, let's be real here too. Our management at our gym told us that we're allowed to not wear a mask if we're vaccinated.
For 2 weeks.
Yeah. Like fully vaccinated.
Fully vaccinated
which
for 2
means
weeks.
After a full, like you get your last shot. If you get 2 shots, you have to wait 2 weeks till after the last shot. You're fully vaccinated. Great. You don't have to wear a mask. We don't ask our members if they're wearing a mask or not.
We can't.
Apparently, if you're a private company, you actually are allowed to ask. Like Lollapalooza, you have to have like a screenshot or proof of vaccination or proof that you got tested for COVID like 24 hours before.
Oh,
you go.
shit. Which I mean, that makes sense.
So one of my clients told me there was a bar he went to in the city that they wouldn't let you in unless you showed them proof of vaccination.
Really?
Yeah. So when he told me that, I was like, I'm taking a picture of my card just in case.
I'm just going to fill my other shot card in.
Yeah. But let's be real here. I bet you 50% of the people that aren't wearing masks in our gym are fucking lying.
Oh, they're for sure. Because
Yeah.
the first day that it was no masks, I would say it was about a 50-50 split. There were still a good amount of people wearing masks.
Mm-hmm.
By day 3, no one.
No, well, I have a client who he was vaccinated. He was vaccinated like probably 2 months before they made that decision. And he told me when he walked in, he goes, yeah, no masks. And I was like, yeah, no, you're good if you're vaccinated. And he goes, yeah, I just saw other people had their masks off, so I just took mine off.
It's so funny. I was training a client, and there was a guy in the seated cable row, and we were by like one of those first benches on the light side of the dumbbells.
Mm-hmm.
He looked at me. I didn't have my mask on, and he just slowly took his mask off, and I gave him a thumbs up. He smiled at me and went right back to his set. I was like, fuck yeah, dude.
Dude, it's funny because in certain businesses, I see everyone had their masks on. So like I went to Target, and I think for the first week after the CDC made that announcement, because that was while we were in Vegas,
Mm-hmm.
and for the first week, everyone in Target was still wearing their masks. And I'll go to Target probably like 2 to 3 times a week on my walk home, grab a steak, because I don't like meal prepping steak, but I like making it like for dinner or something.
Yeah.
And everyone would always have their masks on. And so I just left mine on because I was like, I don't know if, certain businesses, if they allow it or if they don't, I don't know. And I don't care to get scolded for not wearing one. So if everyone else has theirs on, I'm like, fuck it, I'll just leave mine on. And then the other day I saw one of their workers had it off, and it was like the same thing that you just described. And like she looked at me and I looked at her, and I'm just going like that. And she just goes,
that's amazing.
I was like, all right, sweet.
You're a much better person than I am. I walk into places without a mask, and I'll put it on if they tell me to.
Yeah. I don't know what it is lately. I used to only be this way like in relationships, but I found myself avoiding confrontation sometimes. And it's mostly like COVID related stuff though, because people online, they just freak the fuck out about everything. You know what I mean? Like everyone, you're either like a grandma killer or you're a sheep because you wear a mask. And there's like no in between. There's no between. And I'm just over here like, I don't really fucking care. I just am, I'm going to do what the fucking government says. You're like, hey, you got to wear a mask. Like, all right, I'll wear a mask, because the alternative is I don't work and I just hang out at home.
Right.
And I'm going to
Which sounds kind of nice, but like.
Yeah, like kind of nice,
No.
but also like I like.
We enjoy working.
I enjoy working, and I also would prefer to like make money.
And we've
if
both
I
been
if
in
I
the
had
same
the
boat.
choice to make money or not make money, I'd probably like to make money.
Make some money.
Yeah.
We've both been in the same boat about that. Like, we'll do what we need to do.
Yeah.
We'd obviously prefer not to wear masks, but
Yeah.
if we have to, we will.
If the alternative is staying home, then all right, let's throw the mask on.
Yep.
So we have a 1, 2, 3 podcast coming to you guys today.
Hold on. Powerlifting.
Yeah.
We're both getting strong as fuck right now.
That's true. Well, I am.
I'm feeling strong.
No, you are. Your strength is gonna come right back, man.
Well, it
So
is back.
Well, I mean, you lost.
Deadlift is back.
Well, you lost about 50 pounds on the deadlift initially, but we switched you to sumo. So I had Zach
This is fucking hilarious.
pulling sumo one day, just to like ease the strain on the low back, because the stronger you are, the more taxing every single session is, because you're lifting so much more weight. And you have a good amount of volume in your program still too.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure you had that, because I knew if I didn't, you were definitely going off program.
I went off program a little today and did a little extra arms.
Yeah. I knew that.
Because of volleyball.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to make sure you fill out that shirt when you go play.
I cut this. I made it a crop top.
That's funny.
Only one to cut their shirt in the whole fucking league. I don't know how many hundreds of people are in that league. Only one to cut their shirt.
Yikes. So your deadlift jumped up probably like 30 pounds when you pulled sumo. And I mean, what were you pulling that day? Like 585 for?
Well, so because I remember you were with a client, and I was like, "Do I really have to fucking do sumo?"
Yeah.
Like
I had you doing sets of like 8, 7, and 6.
Yeah, and I was like, "I really don't want to do sumo," and you're like, "Dude, just stick to the fucking program and do sumo."
No, I told you. I said, if you go off program, I will fucking murder you. And my client just started laughing, because I tell her the same shit. Because she'll text me when she has one of her other workouts in her program when she's not with me, and she'll be like, can I just do like reverse lunges instead of split squats? And I'm like, get your foot.
Stick to the fucking program.
I go, put your foot on the fucking bench. Put your back foot on the bench and fucking do them.
Yep.
And just so you know, I'm not a dick like that with my clients. Her and I have dynamic. We have a similar dynamic. I have a similar dynamic with her that I do with you. You know, she talks shit to me, and you know, I talk a little shit. It's fun.
Right, exactly. It's
a good
friendly
time.
banter.
Yeah, you know, you'll always have a love-hate relationship with your trainer. You love the results they help you get. But you kind of hate them. You kind of hate them for like when I see 15 reps on split squats in my program, I text one and I say fuck you, and he goes why, and he goes like why, and puts it like haha, and then I'll send him a picture like the split squat pad, and I'll be like 15 fucking reps, and then he'll just reply with like a bunch of laughing emojis.
Yeah, like this isn't a fucking joke.
I'm like, this is funny for you, man. I'm crying. I'm doing 15 reps.
Tim does the exact. I mean, he knows the program too, and every day he's like, what's on the agenda for today? And I tell him, and he's like, I hate you. I'm like, do you though? Not really.
Dude, I got one guy, and we'll be doing split squats, and he'll like pull up his shorts and look in the mirror, and he'll just look at me, and I'll go, I mean,
you trust me yet?
He'll just go, my legs are fine, really. He goes, we could just hit upper body. My legs are good. I'm like, bro, you just hit a push day 2 days ago and a pull day yesterday. You have arms tomorrow. Why would you want to hit upper body right now?
I'm gonna fuck your upper body up if you fuck your legs up.
I know. Oh man.
No, so I that day I worked up to 545 for 6.
Yeah.
And then was it the next day?
And that was like RP 6 for 7. You had like
smoked it.
3 or 4 reps in you still.
And then the next day was one heavy set of 3 with, was it 2 or 3 reps in the tank?
Yeah.
585.
Yeah.
I mean, that was my 1 rep max conventional when we started this program.
Yeah. I mean, it just looked more natural too, because I think with your conventional setup, you have a hard time like getting
long fucking arms.
Yeah. And so you kind of have a hard time getting your shoulder blades over the bar and getting into a good starting position without your torso being like almost damn near parallel to the ground. Yeah. So it's like an RDL almost. And the fact that you were able to pull 635 conventional,
it wasn't pretty, but
with your build. I mean, here's the thing with deadlifts though. With squats, you can not hit depth or just fucking bomb out of the bottom or whatever. But like in terms of the lift, like people can argue and it can be kind of subjective on whether you hit depth or not. But with a deadlift, you either get it up or you don't, right? Like a bench, you could be like, oh, well, he didn't pause long enough. You're like, you can't win with those kind of things, right?
Yep.
But with deadlifts, you either get the weight up or you don't. And it's still laughable to me. And people are like, oh, sumo's cheating, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right. You try
to fucking do it.
Yeah, you go pull 585 sumo then, and then let's talk about what's easier versus what's harder. I know some people that pull way more conventional than they pull sumo, and I know some people that are the opposite. And if you look, I mean, your strength difference, it's not that big. Like you could go either way. It's just you get in a lot better position with your sumo in the start. And
But my sumo is still, it's a more narrow sumo stance.
it's kind of a hybrid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like Cooper's.
Mm-hmm. And he goes really wide sometimes. He trains in a lot of different.
Yeah. He does what everyone should do.
Yeah, pretty much. Cooper's over at Delta 5 Performance on Instagram if you want to follow him. He's got a lot of great content out there.
A lot of great content.
More specifically towards like athletes and more like advanced lifters, but great stuff there if you're interested in that. Your deadlift though, that jump from, you know, your conventional to sumo, I mean, it was a noticeable jump.
Yes.
But for me, like my 3 rep max on conventional, dude, it's probably like maybe 405. I've never touched over 365 with conventional. And then my sumo is
Jesus.
fucking 500.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, your sumo's significantly better.
yeah. Well, projected max is probably like 515, but I've only hit 500. So,
Okay.
We'll see. Projected squat max right now is about 430. So my
That'd be fucking sick.
yeah. Well, my meet I did 407.9. So
that'd be a huge jump.
Yeah, I mean to be able to hit 365 for 4 was fucking awesome. I felt good.
Yeah, dude. We're going to, was it Costa Mesa?
Our meet is somewhere else in fucking like it's an hour north of Orange County, but we're gonna be staying in Costa Mesa with Juan.
Okay, that's what it was.
And if you don't know who Juan is, you're maybe newer to the podcast, go listen to episode 30 something.
It's
a late
37
30s.
or 38 maybe.
Yeah, I wanted to say 41. That was my dad. Juan is somewhere between 36 and 39. One of those episodes.
Just listen to all of them.
Probably listen through all of them, but definitely listen to that one.
He's a fucking genius.
Yeah, he's my powerlifting coach, and he's phenomenal. But we're gonna stay with him, and he's gonna handle me while I'm going through my meet, and I'm gonna be handling Zach while also competing in the same meet. So I'm really excited.
You're fucked.
I know. I'm really excited to try that out. And Jessie was planning on doing this meet with us, but she got set back for about a month with an injury.
At least.
So I think she'll probably end up competing maybe around early next year. But I know she wants to. She's just trying to get her bench back up and everything. Her
injury
deadlift
fixed.
Yeah. So I had her work with this PT, Dr. Jacob Harden. He's got a lot of great content on Instagram, actually, but I found him through our business coach, through Matt.
Oh, damn.
And I referred him to a few clients because I just really like his stuff. I think he's really intelligent. I've listened to a lot of the podcasts that he's gone on, and he's helped my clients a ton. Anyone that's battling through like just aches and pains or just random things. And he's helped Jessie a lot. So I'm kind of working with him while we're putting together her program to get her back to full strength and full health. So it's been a lot of fun learning from him. And I think that's something that I've always loved as a trainer is when something happens and I have to refer out. Every time I refer out, I get to collaborate with someone who has a different field of genius, right?
Yep.
And I'll never be a PT, but I've learned a lot of stuff from this guy regarding like pain management, and pain reduction, injury reduction, and things like that. But it's been really cool and really eye-opening working with him.
That's awesome. That's the thing that good personal trainers do is you don't pretend you know it all.
Yeah.
If you don't know, you refer out. Because what I see a lot is personal trainers, oh, you have pain? Let me try and fix it.
Yeah. And I think a lot of them, they get threatened if like
someone else.
Their client is working with someone else too. And it's like, you can collaborate there. Like you can work together. It's not you versus his PT. Like he's not going to take your client,
yeah.
you know? But it is what it is, man.
People.
I know. So we got a 1, 2, 3 podcast coming at you today.
Not a 3, 2, 1.
No.
1, 2, 3.
No, it is a 3, 2, 1.
No, it's not.
No, it's a 1,
We're
2,
1, 2,
3.
3.
I'm on the questions already. That's why.
That's funny. Fucking confusing me over here.
Yeah. Words are hard. So we got a 1, 2, 3 podcast for you. If you're new to the podcast, a 1, 2, 3 episode is 1 study for everyone, 2 ideas from us, 3 questions from you. So the 1 study for everyone is any study that we find that we think is really interesting that can apply to you, that we can apply to ourselves. So we all get to learn together. And the 2 ideas from us are just random musings on training, nutrition, life, business, whatever.
Whatever we want to talk about.
Whatever the fuck we want to talk about, because this is our show.
We make the rules.
And we do what we want. And then the 3 questions from you are questions that you write in to us, whether that be through our website or through DMing us on Instagram or whatever the case. And we answer your questions in depth, and we have a fucking good time, man. We laugh, we learn.
Cry sometimes.
Yeah, we eat edibles sometimes. Hopefully you eat them with us while you listen.
Yes, that should be a prereq.
Yeah, you can't fucking listen unless you eat an edible.
So pause and take an edible.
What if we could have a software where there's like a face recognition
breathalyzer?
on your phone, and the face, like the fucking front camera on your phone has to see you eat an edible?
That's funny.
You got to scan the barcode on the edibles, and then you have to eat one.
I mean, we'd be doing well.
We'd have 2 listeners. No, we just get a bunch of potheads, and they'd be like, I thought this was a weed podcast. They talk about fitness? Yeah. This is bullshit.
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
Sprinkle it in there.
Yeah. They're like, all right, I'm done with this now.
Yep.
So the study we chose for this podcast is about fasted cardio and whether or not that makes a difference in fat loss.
It doesn't. Next.
Dude, don't be so aggressive, man.
Sorry, I just get really heated.
Yeah, what's your problem?
Where do you want me to start?
Yeah, when are we getting you in therapy, man?
I don't know if I can joke about that with one of my clients all the time, because he's seen like 7 or 8 therapists, and he's like, no one can figure me out. I've been seeing a therapist for like 8-9 years. And I'm like, I should probably see a therapist, but it's not something I want to dive into at this point in my life.
Yeah. You know what you should do the next time he says, "Let's be like, watch here, try me out. I'll be your therapist," and then just let him talk, and then be like,
"That's fucked up."
Just be like, "No, yeah, you're pretty fucked up. You need a lot of therapy.
You need help."
Yeah, you can pay me through PayPal or Bitcoin.
Oh, we should only accept Bitcoin for online coaching.
Oh, dude, I don't know how to do that. I literally have that in my sales email, and I'm like,
I saw that.
Make payments super easy through PayPal. I should probably be accepting gold coin or Bitcoin.
Gold coin.
Or I said, oh, fucking A.
Dogecoin?
No, I was like, I should be accepting gold or Bitcoin by now, but don't have the tech set up yet.
We'll clear the brain capacity.
Yeah, no kidding.
We should make gold coin.
Yeah.
I don't know. Could we make money doing that?
Probably not.
Ugh.
I couldn't. I don't know if you could.
We could hire
Dude,
someone.
I don't know fucking anything about stocks and shit like that.
I don't
Which is
either.
funny because my dad is does investing, but I just give him my money and say, hey, here, make me
That's
make
exactly
me
what
more
I do.
money, and he goes, okay.
I was talking to one of my clients today about just like investments and stuff, and he was like, "Yo, what's your money invested in? Like bonds, stocks, whatever." And I was like, "I don't know." And I pulled up my portfolio and I handed it to him, and I was like, "You tell me what I'm invested in."
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know, retail account and IRA, 401k.
I know I'm invested in AT&T. That's the one single stock I have.
Okay, yeah, I fucking.
But I pay someone to do that, so
Yeah,
I trust him. What episode is this? 47? There we go.
Yeah, we're almost at 50, man.
Oh, for you guys, we're going to do a giveaway
We are.
at 50. So let us know what you want.
Yeah, we're gonna give away the sock that Zach wore on his dick when he got his birthday.
I definitely still have that. I think because the Nike symbol
Yeah,
is a little darker.
and you didn't have a hole in that one, did you?
Not that I know of. I mean, clearly I'm not big enough to fucking fill out an ankle sock, so nothing was hanging out.
Dude, could you imagine if you accidentally picked a sock with a fucking hole in the toes, just poking out of
A
it?
little fucking head sticking out.
Oh man.
Yikes.
So to give a little background and purpose for this study, I'm just going to read this straight from the study here. It's been hypothesized that performing aerobic exercise after an overnight fast accelerates the loss of body fat. The purpose of this study was to investigate changes in fat mass and fat-free mass following 4 weeks of volume-equated fasted versus fed aerobic exercise in young women adhering to a hypocaloric diet, meaning they were in a calorie deficit.
You want to explain that in like layman's terms?
So, long story short, people thought for a long time, people still think, that fasted cardio is going to produce more fat loss than doing cardio if you've eaten within the last 8 hours. So they took 2 groups of women. Half of them did fasted cardio, half of them did fed cardio. They were all in a calorie deficit of about 500 calories. And what they found was, no surprise, there was no meaningful difference in fat loss between the two groups.
No difference in fat loss, BMI decrease, waist circumference. I mean, literally anything. There was no difference in any category that they measured.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that, or a couple of like strengths was that we wrote down, they were all doing what people call the optimal zone for fat loss, and the fat burning zone of about working around like 70% of your max heart rate. So it was like moderate intensity, steady state cardio. And again, no meaningful difference. But the strength is that they did a good job controlling this study and having limited variables. The one weakness they had was that it was, well, two of them, I guess. One of them being that it was only a 4-week period, and maybe we need to see something like a 12-week period to see if there's any meaningful difference. But in that same vein, if you have a longer duration diet, there's going to be more people in that group that don't stick to the diet, that don't adhere to it. That can be a little bit tricky with determining the reliability of the study and knowing like, okay, well, did they have a lot more variables at play than they should have? And generally, you want to limit most variables so you can have the one variable being fat loss. How much fat loss did each group lose? And when you have that longer study, you're going to have less efficacy of tracking calories and macronutrients accurately.
And then the other... Yikes. Fucking that wasn't even kicked in yet.
We're keeping that in for sure.
All right, deal.
You say this like you have a say. You don't have a say. It's going in.
Well, this is my podcast, but I let you make some rules sometimes. Otherwise, I would need to find a new co-host, and I kind of like having you here.
That's not true, because when I go to Quinn 92's concert in September, I'm gonna
self-reporting. So they were self-reported. Self-reported calorie intake. So there is going to be some variable in that because what was it? It was like 700 calories.
Well, there was a different study where 81% of subjects that were tracking their calories, they were reporting 700 calories less than they were actually eating.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was tracking calories, especially at the beginning, because I didn't track during bodybuilding, but at the beginning when I was tracking, I didn't track the Oreos. I didn't track the ice cream.
You also, a lot of people, they don't track ranch dressing or ketchup and mustard. And mustard is pretty low calorie, actually, but they don't track ketchup.
Barbecue sauce.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Really any condiments, extra, like a splash of creamer here. Mm-hmm. That's a big thing, coffee creamer. I weigh out my coffee creamer with a tablespoon. I do 3 tablespoons.
Yeah.
So one serving is 1 tablespoon. I do 3 of those. Easy math. But
and that's the stuff that adds up.
Yeah. And also, just to be clear here, I don't have like 1 mug of coffee with 3 tablespoons of creamer. It's really about 2 of those. So I fill up like a 16-ounce tumbler.
Yeah.
So
thermos the right word?
Thermos, tumbler, mug, to-go mug.
To-go coffee.
Who cares? I just called it a mug, and then one of my clients kept calling it a tumbler, and I was like, is that what it's called? And she was like, yeah.
Didn't you fucking know?
It's fucking coffee.
Yeah. It's a container that takes my coffee from my apartment to the gym.
Yeah, call it a cup, a Yeti, a mug. I don't give a shit. It's coffee. There's a lot of it. I'm going to drink all of it.
Yes.
I'm going to have 2 of them. I have 2 of those every day.
Absolutely.
I have 32 ounces of coffee every day, which could be a problem.
It's only a problem if you try and quit.
Yeah, it's true. It's not a problem if you're good at it, right?
Yes.
Some people might describe my relationship with coffee as borderline sexually inappropriate, but it depends who you ask.
Depends what time of day you ask, too.
That's very true. If you ask me first thing in the morning when I start with my 6:30 a.m. client, I guarantee you it is borderline sexually inappropriate.
I mean, he's moaning on the strength floor.
I mean, literally.
Rubbing his nipples and shit.
Dude, when I have my first cup of coffee in the morning, I can't help it. When I have my first sip, like during that session, I'll be like, I'll drink it and I'll go, oh. And my client goes, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm good.
I was talking with...
Okay.
No, you're not. Well, I was talking with Forrest, like when me and him make food, we are grunting and moaning when we're eating it.
Every time either of you take a bite of anything, dude,
oh my God.
It doesn't matter what we eat. Anytime I've eaten with you and Forrest, every single time you guys take a bite and it's, oh, this is so fucking good. And Forrest will be like, this is the fucking best meal I've ever had. I'm like, you literally said that at lunch, dude. This is dinner. The same
Yep.
day. And you said that yesterday at lunch and dinner.
He's a little more extreme than I am.
You're pretty close, man.
That's what fucking happens when you live with him. Like, he's rubbing off on me. I never made noises when I ate until I started living with him. And like at night, we finished with our protein and oatmeal and protein.
Yeah.
I guess there might be more protein than oatmeal. I don't fucking know.
It's a lot.
But we take a bite and we're both like, oh my God, this is so good.
Yeah, man. Edibles will make almost anything taste like that.
I
Except
never
for
said we took edibles.
except for fish. I'm just assuming, man. Am
I
I
mean, you're
wrong?
wrong. You're right.
Okay, there we go.
But I never stated that. Okay, back to the study.
Back to the study.
Edibles haven't even kicked in yet.
I know. So no meaningful differences. Fasted cardio is not going to speed up your fat loss. There's really not much evidence at all to prove otherwise. There's an overwhelming amount of evidence shows that there's no difference.
But and the reason people think that it does is because when you do cardio in that fat burning zone, you're burning more fat as opposed to carbs, but it's dietary fat,
Yeah.
not body fat
Yeah.
that you're burning. And that's a big misconception that the fitness industry has kind of capitalized on.
Yeah. Well, people hear burning fat and they go, "Oh, I want to burn fat."
Right.
Like, well, you don't. It doesn't matter whether you burn fat or whether you burn glucose, meaning carbs. You want to lose fat, and that's just going to come through maintaining a diet where you're in a calorie deficit.
The one thing I did find interesting about this study was in the discussion, they were talking about the effect fasted cardio has on your appetite throughout the day. Regardless if it increases or decreases. But I think that would be an interesting study to do if just looking at that, like if you do fasted cardio in the morning, does that either suppress your appetite a little bit more or increase your appetite throughout the day?
That would be interesting. I think one benefit of fasted cardio, I shouldn't say benefit, but I think it's not like it's worse or it's better. It's just they're the same.
Yeah.
But if your schedule only allows you to do your cardio like first thing in the morning, and it's inconvenient for you to try to eat and digest food before you do your cardio because you have a life and you have to go to work or go to school, then it probably makes more sense to just do your cardio then when you can.
But it also adds structure where if you say I'm doing fasted cardio, I mean, like I got excited in college to do fasted cardio. I mean, I did think at the time it would burn more body fat, but it got me up and out of bed and like I was excited to do cardio.
Yeah.
And I hate doing cardio. So that got me to do cardio. So I said, fuck it. Like, let me do fasted cardio then.
Dude, I spent 2 years doing fasted cardio, and I would sip on BCAAs while I did fasted cardio. So
the fitness industry had you tied around their finger.
yeah.
I mean, me too, but it's fun to call you out.
It happens, man. Part of the process, part of learning.
And that's why we did this, so people don't make the same mistakes we did.
Yeah. Our loss is your gain.
But we built character. That's what you're losing out on.
That's so fucking corny that you just said that on the podcast.
We're leaving that in there too.
Oh man, you're making me look like an asshole and you don't talk shit back to me, man. Also, before we get
that's how I win.
I know. Before we get into these 2 ideas from us, we haven't posted this on Instagram because we suck. But we are still in the beard competition right now. Okay, I suck.
There we go. Asshole.
We are 3 weeks in to this beard bet on Sunday. This is Thursday, so we're about 2.5 weeks in right now. And my beard is objectively better right now. We'll see where we're at in 5 weeks, but we'll probably do like
5 weeks. Oh, in 5 weeks,
5
not
more weeks.
at
Yeah.
5 weeks. Okay.
So we'll probably do like a 4-week check-in, and then maybe try to do like a 6-week check-in too.
We'll try.
We'll try. We'll try.
No promises.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Your beard looks a lot fuller when it grows out more. Like, I'm surprised yours is growing slow.
It is.
Yeah.
But like, and I just think back to quarantine because, I mean, I didn't shave before quarantine started, but I went 3 months probably without shaving, and it got long. Yours is just growing fucking fast.
Yeah, it is growing fast. I'm surprised. After a week, I was like, what the fuck? How'd this grow back so fast?
Well, your hair's dark.
It is.
So like, it was stubble so you could still see skin. And because it's so dark, it grew out a little bit and it kind of covered your skin.
Yeah.
Where I still got this little like
Yeah.
It's not patchy. It's just,
It just isn't like long yet.
and Rylan doesn't listen to the podcast, so it's okay. But it looked like Rylan's head before he shaved it.
That's funny. I was surprised 'cause I haven't had my beard this long in a while, and I have a lot more grays and even a few reds than I realized, like on my chin.
Fuck yeah, and you were giving me shit for having red beard.
Well,
But I will say,
here's the thing though, yours is like all red, which is weird because your
ginger.
hair is brown,
uh-huh.
and it just doesn't look right.
Thanks,
I have some salt and pepper coming in here, and it's
why,
like
how the fuck, why do you have gray hair already?
I don't know, dude. I was walking on the street and someone was like, "George Clooney, can I get your autograph?" I was like, "Hey, settle down, settle down."
Like, no, but you can get my picture.
Yeah. I'll
No,
sign an autograph for $100. Yeah.
You, Jesus Christ. That's going into the 5-year plan bank account. If you grow your beard out and like get a nice, thick, long beard, you're going to be the perfect power lifter.
That's true. I have to actually
your
get
head.
literally fat though. And then
I wouldn't tell you not to.
and then just get fucking tattoos everywhere. Look like I just got out of prison.
I'd be okay if you did that.
There we go. We're in it.
Fuck yeah.
So, 2 ideas from us.
Idea number 1, quit tomorrow. This was actually something that me and Connor were talking with our manager about yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And she shared us this article through Precision Nutrition, and it just talked about, like, I don't know, there was like 7 key points of the article, but one of them was quit tomorrow. And we both kind of looked at each other and were like, fuck, that's a great idea. And I'm going to backtrack a little bit. Through my bodybuilding show, there were so many times that I wanted to just stop because the prep sucked. And I was like, I'm giving up so much of my life that it's not worth it. Like, I wasn't seeing the results that I wanted to see, and I was just giving up too much. And the whole quit tomorrow mentality is make it one more day. If you could just stick it out through today, chances are you're going to wake up tomorrow. That chair's got to go.
Yeah, no, I gotta get a new one.
Chances are you're going to wake up tomorrow, whether you have more motivation or drive or something that you're holding on to, it allows you to kind of delay that one more day. Or like when you're doing squats, for example, you know, you got a set of 12 and you're at 9 and you're like, fuck, this sucks. Just tell yourself one more rep. All right, you're at 10. One more rep. 11. One more rep. 12. You did it. Once you get to that point of like that gratification of achieving that goal, you're going to look back and be like, damn, I'm so glad I didn't quit, because it's not the final product that brings you that gratification. It's the long and hard process that it took you to get to where you're trying to go that really makes that championship or that like achieving that goal as rewarding.
Dude, it's so much sweeter to win when you've had failures and setbacks and trials along the way. Like, if it was easy, it wouldn't be as rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why we find so much fulfillment in doing hard things, and why we become so much more confident in ourselves. And I know that quit tomorrow, that quote really resonated with me. And I know I've shared this on the podcast before, and we talked about it yesterday too, that when I was going through the most difficult period in my life, I woke up wanting to take my life every single day. And there were 2 periods in my life where this happened. There was my freshman year in high school and my sophomore year in college, where every day I just woke up and I was like, all right, how am I going to kill myself today? And I would think about it in class, and the only thing that would get me to stop thinking about it would be to get high. And so I'd get high to avoid having to face my current reality at the time. And I would go home and I would be like, I want to fucking kill myself, because I had no distractions. And like, when you look in the mirror and the only thing you see is like a person that you just can't fucking stand, like there's nothing else that you can think about. And I would just tell myself, all right, if I want to end my life, I'll do it, but I'm going to go work out first. And if I want to do it after that, then I will. And I'd go work out, I get those post-workout endorphins, and I would be like, you know what? Like, life is fine. I'm healthy. My family's good. Like, I haven't permanently ruined my life. I'm not where I want to be right now, but I can get there. And it gave me a little bit of hope. And that's one of the reasons I'm so passionate about fitness, is because it literally saved my life. I can tell you confidently I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that. And that's what makes life so much sweeter to me now, is because I didn't think I'd be here now. And the fact that I am, and the fact that it's a lot to do because of fitness and because of renewing my faith and a culmination of things, but mostly that mindset of quit tomorrow. And that one really hit home with me. And I think there's something to be said about embodying that mindset. And I think that if you do, you can accomplish a lot more than you'd ever imagine.
I have goosebumps.
Man.
Damn.
Yeah, I get really emotional every time I share that. Dude, I mean, aside from yesterday, the first time I shared that on the podcast, and today, the only time I ever verbalized that was the first time I told my therapist. And
damn,
that first time, I mean, there was also like a lot of crying and shit in between, so I couldn't get that out. But you know, like that's, I don't know. I don't even have anything else to say to that. But we're fucking keeping it real and raw and unscripted, so this is where we're at. Anyway, idea 2. It's only gay if your balls touch, so take your balls to your couch. Oh, man. I'm sorry. I get, so this is another thing I'm fucking working on with my therapist. When I start getting, I start feeling things, I fucking deflect with humor. But also, what the fuck does she know? She only studied human psychology for fucking 8 years in school.
But this isn't her time right now.
This is not her time. I don't see fucking Stephanie until next Monday.
You hear that, Stephanie?
She doesn't listen, man. But if you do listen, Stephanie, you haven't told me. I'm really sorry about that. I do love you, and I think you know what you're talking about. Just in case.
Just in case. Don't fire me as a client. I need you.
Oh man, she would just like play this clip back in the next session and be like, and she'd go, "Yeah,
we have
pretty fucked
much
up.
Deeper things to talk about now."
She'd be like, "Connor, you have issues.
Yeah.
This is not news to me."
It's like, I cannot even begin to start to unpack this. I'm transferring you.
Yeah. Oh, man. All right. So the real idea 2 is nothing about balls touching. The idea 2 is that negative feelings are simply a call to action. Whenever you feel shitty about yourself, whether that's guilt or shame or anything, that is a sign that your actions are not aligned with your values or your goals. So if your goal is to lose weight and you go out every weekend and drink a metric fuck ton of alcohol and slam a bunch of Taco Bell after before you go home,
I feel personally attacked.
Number one, you're going to feel like shit after that Taco Bell the next day. Like physically you'll feel like shit.
Yes.
But also, you're going to feel like shit about yourself because you're like, damn, I told myself I was going to be serious about my diet, and you're not taking it seriously. So you're going to feel like shit about yourself. And those negative feelings, a lot of times, it seems like nowadays we're taught to, oh, you shouldn't feel any bad emotions. If you feel that, then you just need to ignore it and be positive or whatever. It's like, it's fucking like toxic positivity in that you should just always be positive and never embrace negative emotions. And I think you need to let yourself feel that shit. You have to, because that's the only way. Sometimes the only way to change is to look in the mirror. And this is what happened with me. I looked in the mirror and I fucking hated what I saw. And the only possible solution was to fucking change. Be like, you know what? No, I'm not doing this anymore. I need to make some changes in my life. And you do. And you don't have to totally make a 180. And I will say this though, as much as we preach instilling habits, sustainable habits that can last you a lifetime, I think there's a lot of power in moments in when your back's up against the wall.
Hitting rock bottom.
Yeah, and you just say, you know what? Fuck this shit. I'm not doing this anymore. And you turn everything around. I believe that is possible. And I do think that you can do that and sustain those changes. But I think those moments, I've only had one of those in my life. And I don't know, I haven't lived a lot of years yet. I just turned 25 a week ago. But I don't know if you ever get any more than one, maybe two if you're lucky.
I'd say it's a spectrum of them. Like you have
Probably.
that one big one,
Yeah.
and then the smaller ones that kind of follow it.
Yeah. No, that's actually probably true.
But
like
I
that.
mean, I even look at last Sunday. Like we went out for Connor's birthday, got absolutely obliterated, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
Probably for the best.
Yeah.
I finished the night butt ass naked in my bathtub eating a big red velvet cake out of the box while Jesse's like laying on the bathroom floor. She was overserved, so she wasn't feeling great.
We were all overserved.
I know. And I'm just butt ass naked eating that cake next to her. I'm like, you all
How
right?
can you say she's overserved when you're butt ass naked in your tub eating red velvet cake?
You're telling me the first thing you do when you get home is not to take off your pants
I mean, my first thing's not to go sit in my bathtub naked.
and eat cake?
I mean, cake's that adds to it.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, you're fucking butt ass naked. You were clearly overserved.
So you get in your bathtub with all your clothes on?
I plead the fifth.
That's what I thought. Whenever you get in the bathtub, you're naked, man. That's how it works. I didn't have the water on,
That
though.
was my next question. Was the water on?
No. That was a good time. But anyway, so Sunday, you're feeling like shit.
Also, and I've had this conversation with myself the days leading up to that as well. But especially after the show, like, I realized how important health and wellness was to my overall, like, quality of life. And yes, I was very extreme, but I honestly never felt better. Like, I cut out sweets, I cut out alcohol, all the things that do make me feel like shit. And fast forward to the next 4 weekends, I went out and got obliterated every single weekend, ate a shit ton of food, and, like, again, I put on 16 pounds in 2 weeks. And how I felt on Sunday, I had to have that conversation with myself. Like, I looked in the mirror and I was like, you're a piece of shit. Like, here are your morals and here's what's important to you right now. Why are your actions not lining up with what you're trying to do? And it wasn't one of those big epiphanies that's going to change my life, but it was one of those that I was like, damn, that's part of the reason why I feel so shitty, because I want to be one way, but my actions are speaking differently.
Yeah. And you could take this a couple different ways too, like especially in terms of maybe like how your body looks, right? So when we grew up, we were taught like if you don't like your body, then change it, right? And now a lot of times people are going like, if you don't love your body, you just need to love yourself more and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, okay, well, how the fuck do I do that, right? And to love yourself more, you have to take more action that makes you respect yourself. So that doesn't necessarily mean because you look in the mirror and you don't like how you look, that doesn't mean, oh, you have to lose weight or you need to put on muscle. Maybe it means to change the yardstick in which you measure your self-worth. Maybe you're measuring your self-worth based on your body fat percentage or your muscle, right? And maybe you need to change your self-worth to being like, you know what, I'm enough and I'm going to work out because it makes me feel good, because it makes me healthy, and it helps regulate like my emotions and mental state. And that can be the reason you work out. And then you eat food because it makes you feel good, and you focus on performance in the gym. And those kind of things will end up, number one, making you respect yourself more because your future you is going to be proud of what present you is doing. But then on top of that, those physical changes are a byproduct of those actions. So whether or not the focus of that action is changing your perspective or actually just taking different action, you're going to be happier and you're going to see changes in your physique.
How's my hair look?
Greasy.
Nice.
Yeah. No,
Thank you,
it actually doesn't look bad without the headband.
I just mean with like the headphones, and is it like my headphones being a headband?
Yeah, it kind of is. Did we have did you have a headband on Thursday?
No, but I had
Okay.
my 5-year plan shirt. Now we're
Okay.
caffeine and kilos, baby.
I like that. I like that shirt. I like that company too.
Great company.
I always thought it'd be funny to have cannabis and kilos.
That would be funny.
Shirt company. I think that would be funny.
Zin and kilos.
Zin and juice. Sipping on Zin and juice. Dude, I hate this chair. Also, this is like a
Going
weird, I know, this is a weird mid-episode intro now I feel like we have going on. Zach and I stopped recording on Thursday. We were about halfway through. You had a volleyball game. I had to get high and play Call of Duty.
You had to go save the world.
Yeah. I used to know his name as a Secretary of Defense for the U.S., and I would tell my parents, and I stayed at their house. During quarantine, I would be like, hey, so-and-so called me. He needs me. He needs me to go defend our country.
That's funny.
And I'd be like, I'm getting deployed. They're like, shut the fuck up.
I feel like we do the intros as just a way to hear ourselves talk.
Kind
Because
of.
we don't need an intro right now.
No, it's just addictive.
Or is it a mid-tro?
A mid-tro.
I mean,
It's not bad.
maybe.
That's got a nice ring to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we stopped recording, so we make the rules. So we're fucking
We
finishing it today. So
Fuck
I
yeah.
got a new shirt on. He's got a new shirt on. I washed my hair since then. Zach didn't. It's fine.
My allergies are also kicking me in the fucking ass right now.
I know. You sound really congested.
I am. I was up
Yesterday was worse, though.
yesterday. I did not want to get out of bed. Like in the back of my mind, I'm like, do I fucking have COVID?
Oh, shit.
And then I made some peanut butter, and I was like, no, I can still taste.
That's funny. I mean, I wouldn't know if I had COVID based off my sense of smell because it's so bad. Like sometimes if I'm like in a different room, if I'm in my bedroom,
that's
or
obnoxious.
if I'm in my bedroom, or I'm out here and like I don't see that like Ralphie shit on the pad or something, Jess would be like, right when she walks in, she'd be like, oh my God, it smells like did Ralphie shit in here? And I looked and I was like, oh yeah, he did. She goes, yeah, you might want to take that out. I'm like, oh yeah, definitely, thank you.
Yep.
Because she just knows.
Doing
Like
it now.
she's like, I gotta let you know because I know you won't know.
You can't smell anything.
Yeah. But anyway, this is our little midtro. So we have our questions for you now. We're in the back third of the 1, 2, 3 podcast.
Fuck yeah.
So
Should I pull up my computer and get the questions up?
probably should have had
Yep.
that ready beforehand.
Fuck me.
That's what happens though when we split this up into 2 days. We just forget shit.
Now, to be fair, I don't really have this pulled up anyways.
I feel like that's one of the things with the podcast though or with the intro, we do kind of get into what Chris D'Elia calls podcast mode. You know,
Yes.
it's like when rappers are in album mode, right? We're in podcast mode. It does take you a little bit to get into that. Like before we went on Instagram Live over quarantine, we would FaceTime and talk for like 10 minutes before just to get the juices going, start talking, and just kind
You
of
started
get
touching
comfortable.
yourself a couple times.
Yeah, a few times. I just let you start talking, and I had just had some lotion next to me, and it just worked out.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. I said no homo, so I was fine.
Sometimes.
Sometimes
Other
I
times
didn't.
are just kind of given.
Other times I was like, I just won't look at you in the eyes while you're talking.
I tried to make eye contact.
You have these questions pulled up yet?
I do.
All right.
You want me to start it?
Yeah.
Question 1. When is it beneficial to wear a weight belt when deadlifting or squatting?
I think most of the time. And here's the thing though. This differs depending on who we're talking to.
Yes.
Because we have two separate audiences here for sure, right?
Uh-huh.
We have some people who, when they work out, they just kind of want to get a good workout in, get out, look better. For those kinds of people, you probably don't even need to necessarily be barbell back squatting or doing barbell deadlifts. I think they're incredibly beneficial, and I do think you should at least have the capability to do them. But
I would say for that person, don't wear a belt.
yeah, honestly. But I think if you really care about your strength, specifically in squat and deadlift, you should have a belt. What I generally do is I'll throw my belt on at about 225 on my squats. So I'll do do my barbell complex, warm up with the bar.
Give it like a percentage of your 1 rep max.
Well, generally it'll be like a percentage of my working sets.
Okay.
So like if my working set is anywhere over like 300 or over, I'll throw my belt on at 225. So
like 60?
maybe something around that. Yeah. So like I would
70%?
say if your working sets are between 250 and 350, then maybe throw the belt on at 185. If your top set is somewhere between 185 and 225, maybe throw the belt on around 95 to 135. But what I like to do is I'll do my lightest warm-up set, and then my second warm-up set after that is when I'll throw, or third warm-up set is when I'll throw the belt on.
Okay.
And so I like getting the belt on a little early just because I can really get my bracing and feel good with that. And I throw my knee sleeves on right after my first warm-up set, but we won't get into knee sleeves yet. But with the belt, I think the reason it's so beneficial to wear it, and with deadlifts, I throw it on earlier, by the way, because deadlifts tend to be a little bit more taxing on the low back than squats. And everyone has kind of mixed feelings on that. If you squat low bar and deadlift sumo, you might feel that the low bar squats are more difficult on your back. But right now I have, not only do I have sumo deadlifts, heavy sumos, I have paused conventional deadlifts. So on the paused conventional deadlifts, I throw the belt on like right at 185. On my sumos, sometimes I'll throw it on at 225, sometimes 275. But the reason I like having those in the warm-up sets is to start feeling that brace, feel your stomach pushing into that belt and then bracing. The reason I think it's so beneficial to do that all the time is, number one, let's say you're powerlifting. Practice how you play. That's why it's beneficial to wear that all the time. Otherwise, it's just the extra intra-abdominal pressure that you get. People don't understand this when they think that a belt just makes it easier on your low back. It gives you more core activation. There are EMG studies on this that show when you wear a belt, you have more abdominal pressure and more core activation in the internal obliques as well. So I think it's insanely beneficial when you're trying to improve your squat and your deadlift and you're going heavy. A lot of people say they don't want to be dependent on it.
And that's 100% where I'm at.
But here's the thing. When are you ever going to squat 500 pounds on your back in real life? I understand people say, oh, well, it's not functional, doesn't carry over to real life. I'm never going to be lifting that kind of weight in real life. I could say if you regularly lift things around 200 pounds during your day job, then yeah, maybe you don't want to be dependent on a belt. But also, if you're doing that, you probably do want to wear a belt while you're working if you're lifting that heavy as shit, because you don't want to tire your back out for when you do work out.
So, and here's my thought with it, because I actually, it's not that I feel less stable, but the way that I use the belt is I actually press my core out into the belt.
Yep.
And every time I've gotten an injury in my low back, it's been with a belt. And it's just because I'm pressing out into the belt. I don't know what that does to my low back, but I actually feel better squatting without a belt than I do with. When we squatted the other week, that's the only time I've used a belt in probably 6 months.
And how did it feel that time?
Outside from it digging into me, I mean, it felt good.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm weird. I like with deadlifting too. I would prefer to deadlift with just chalk and no straps, just because it's something about just not having those accessories that allows me to feel more comfortable and confident. Like, all right, I'm touching the bar, or all right, I really got to focus on bracing my core, and it's just that extra level of focus.
Yeah.
That forces me to kind of get into the zone that I need to get into.
Yeah.
But again, with the belt for deadlifting, I mean, when I was figuring out my 1 rep maxes, I think I added like 60 pounds to my deadlift with the belt versus not the belt.
Yeah. But let's also be transparent. When you've hurt your back with a belt, were you actually on a program, or were you kind of just trying to go for 1 rep maxes?
It wasn't even a 1 rep max. It was like a 6 rep max with my 3 rep max weight.
Yeah. So that'll do it, right?
Yeah.
It's so much of that with low back pain, and when you're squatting and deadlifting, it's so much of it is just tolerance.
Yes.
And your back, whether you like it or not, is probably always going to be your limiting factor on that. There's caveats to that. There are some people who do just need to strengthen their quads. Like for me, my back is strong enough to squat more. My quads aren't, and that's why, and that's what kind of dictates my accessory movements.
I think that's where I'm at with deadlifts right now.
Yeah. Well, especially because you haven't done sumo. You know, you've been deadlifting
it's like a deep
heavy
ache pain.
Yeah, so you've deadlifted a lot of heavy conventional. So your low back is going to be really strong, and for us, it's just going to be getting some more quad work.
Volume in.
Yep. But I mean, I think having a belt is insanely beneficial if you are trying to increase your squat or deadlift. There's no reason to not use a belt.
For what I would say to that is, do your warm up set. I know with powerlifting, it is different because you do need to monitor the fatigue on the low back and everything.
Yeah.
But for general people, warm up without the belt. When you get to that top warm up set, or your first working set, I'd actually say first
the last
top warm up set.
I'd say the last 1 to 2 warm ups.
Yeah, throw the belt on just to kind of get used to that for your working sets.
Yep.
But if you're not powerlifting or going for, I'd even say bodybuilding.
Yeah.
If you're not doing an extreme and you're just trying to stay healthy, I would not go spend $300 on a belt.
Yeah. And I mean, if you have the money to be like, hey, I can drop $100 on a belt. There's some really nice belts you can get for $100.
What's the SBD one cost?
SBD is like $350.
Yeah.
The Inzer belt is a really good brand too. That's about $100, and it's well worth it too. I mean, it's a great belt. But again, if you don't really care that much about gaining strength on squatting and deadlifting, then the belt doesn't really matter that much because you don't have to monitor fatigue as closely. You might not be squatting and deadlifting as consistently because it's not your main goal. But I mean, for people, obviously the person asking this cares about improving their squat and deadlift. So for those people, I would say throw it on either like, earlier in your warm-ups, at any time in your warm-ups, really. I prefer to do it earlier on. Really, it's up to you. I just noticed that earlier on I put the belt on, the fresher my low back feels when I go through my squats.
Yes.
Especially on a day, I would say if you have squats and deadlifts on the same day, throw the belt on earlier in your warm-ups. If not, you can get away with playing around with it and just see how you feel.
But also, if and when you have a belt, don't wear a belt when you're doing lateral raises or any accessory work. You look like a fucking moron.
Yeah, I agree. Just squat and deadlift. I do wear it when I do Romanian deadlifts.
Same deadlifting, though.
Same concept, yep. Yeah, I mean, that pretty much covers it.
Yeah.
So we'll get into question 2 here.
Fuck yeah.
Question 2. What advice do you have for words are hard. Keeping that in.
One take warriors.
Yep. What advice do you have? And I skipped question 2. Sorry, we have to say question 2, blah, 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 blah. Because when we make them into clips, it has to be
Instagram friendly.
It has to be Instagrammable.
Yep.
Anyway.
Do it for the gram.
Question 2. What advice do you have for fitness professionals who struggle with their own self-care?
Take care of yourself first. If that means you have to decrease your workload throughout the week, do it, because if you can't be your best self, how do you expect to give someone what they need if you're struggling with your own mental health or whatever it may be? Make sure you're taking care of yourself. So, and we've had that happen to us, like especially ramping back up here when we open back up, taking on more of the podcast and stuff. Like there were times that we suffered and we had to dial our work back to fix ourselves. Again, there's still some room for improvement there.
We're working on it.
We're still working on it. But if you can't be your best self, how do you expect to deliver the best product you can deliver?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is saying no more often.
Yes.
Whether that's when friends or, people ask you to go out on a weekend and you have some stuff that you'd feel better if you just got some of your work done, say no sometimes. Or maybe it's saying no to doing more work, and maybe what you need is to go out. Like it depends on what you need, right? Sometimes it's working when you need to work and you're slacking off. And I'm talking to myself here too. There's times when I should be working and I'm like, I don't really feel like it.
But it's 85 degrees out and you want to go outside and drink.
Right. And so sometimes I also will let my feelings dictate my actions when I don't feel like working. And I always regret it because I know then later when there's actually something that I want to go do, I don't have time now because I have to catch up on my work. But one of the most influential quotes that I've heard with my own life and just balancing my work and life in general is don't light yourself on fire to keep other people warm. Yeah. And I think in the fitness industry and trainers specifically, group fitness coaches, whatever, we take pride in how much we care about helping people. Like we care if we wanted to make money, we go to fucking law school,
yes.
Right? We'd be doing something.
Doctor.
Yeah, we'd be doing something else, right? So we care about helping people, but like Zach said, if you're not your best self, you can't deliver the best product or service possible. And you have to protect the asset because your best asset to making your highest contribution to the world is yourself. And to protect the asset, you have to make sure you're getting enough sleep, you're getting your own workouts in, not only because you are essentially a walking billboard as a trainer, So aside from getting your workouts in for that, but also for your mental health, because it is so important. And we both, have reaped the benefits of that. And obviously you're listening to us, you know the importance of working out and you know how much it benefits your own mental health. So if you're a trainer, like make sure block your workouts out of your calendar just like you would for a client session. And, if you have to not have as many clients throughout the day, then like that's what you have to do. I noticed that if I have a training day, I cannot have more than 4 clients in a row on that day. If I have more than 4 clients in a row on a day that I'm supposed to work out, I'm probably not getting that workout in that day. And so I know based off of when my workouts are, what I'll do is I'll look at my schedule and be like, okay, these are my training days for this block, for this month. And I send that over to my coach and he can kind of make sure that my program's on point for that. And that's one of the other benefits of having a coach. When you already have a lot on your plate, like
They
you
take
don't
care
have,
of the rest.
yeah. So I think, that's another thing I can't believe I didn't even think of. When you're struggling with your own self-care, hire a coach because you're putting the money in. Now you're going to prioritize it. And I think when you prioritize your training and you prioritize your nutrition and you have your work that's obviously already a priority, I think having those other things that you outsource makes it, like the training program that you outsource, it's going to make it a lot easier on yourself to get your workouts in because you don't have to think about what you're doing. But also when you're putting money into it, you're just going to commit at a higher level.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because the one thing that helped me the most was write down a list of your priorities. Like, actions speak louder than words, so see what you believe is important to you, and then what are your actions doing? I mean, this goes back to our second idea today, or I guess Thursday, but whatever, where for me, my health and wellness is my number one priority, and when I'm slacking on that, everything else tends to suffer, which is why it's my number one priority.
And you've outsourced your program as well.
And I've outsourced my program. And I mean, I've outsourced my nutrition too. Like, Blaine is still giving me my macros for my reverse diet that I kind of said, fuck you to.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm getting back on track with that. And it is just once I am my best self, everything else falls into place.
Yep. And I'd also say time blocking. Make sure you block your time out. When you have time in between sessions, sometime you might have an hour and like if you got to work on content or you have to work on programs, block that time out, put your phone on airplane mode and just focus on that and nothing else.
And instead of sessions, for those of you who aren't trainers, meetings.
Yeah, literally anything. If you're a busy professional, this applies to anyone who has a busy job that requires you to do work for other people, have kind of an unpredictable schedule. But I think that time blocking is so big too, because you also want to plan time to relax.
Yes.
Have time planned in your calendar to sit and do nothing.
Scroll through
and
Instagram.
Yeah, be bored.
Question 3. How do you not let your ego get in the way while you are lifting?
Be on a program.
I'm glad you're answering this one.
Yeah, I know. You fucking don't know anything about that, huh?
My ego is my driving force in life.
Yeah, we're working on it. At least I am anyway. You should probably get in fucking therapy. But anyway.
That's a call for another time.
Yep. So seriously, hire a coach and be on a program because
I'd say hire someone you trust.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Like, there's also a difference between trying to hit a PR and ego lifting. Like, trying to hit a PR isn't always ego lifting. The problem is if, let's say, you're working up for a PR and it's like you're going for 400 pounds and that's going to be like the strongest you've ever done. And you know that like it's going to be a grind, but you kind of are like, well, I want 4 plates on there, so I should just go 4 or 5. That's where you start getting into the ego
Story
lifting.
of my fucking life.
Right? Exactly. Cause it's fun to see another 45 on there or another 25 on the bar or whatever. But when you have a coach who's giving you specific numbers to hit and has a sensible progression scheme that is going on there in the program, like you're going to follow it because you're paying for it and you've invested, you have skin in the game, and follow the fucking program.
But it also removes that, like, I don't know what the term is, but it's having an outside person who knows what's best for you. Objective. Yeah, there we go.
Words are hard.
Words are hard. It's that objective opinion of like, no, this is what we're fucking doing. I don't care that we're 5 pounds away from adding another plate. We'll hit that next time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's just not that much better of an answer than hire a coach. And also, like, no one gives a shit how much you lift. And I say that as someone, like, I love getting strong. It's one of my favorite things. It's what keeps me excited for my workouts. But like, no one really, like, our listeners, yeah, they get invested in our workouts and stuff. But like,
No one gives a shit.
if you have a girlfriend, like, my girlfriend's not gonna fucking love me anymore because I hit a 500 squat.
Right.
You know what I mean? My parents aren't gonna be any more proud of me. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, no one fucking cares, but I do, because it's fun for me, and it's that sense of improvement over time and always getting better. But I think you have to let the goal be the goal. Like, the goal is not the goal of your workouts is either like to get stronger, to look better, to, you know, reduce pain or whatever. The goal is not like to fucking pump your ego up as big as possible and feel as good about yourself as you can.
That comes with due time.
Yeah, you have to stay within your capabilities, and also, like, not going for PRs every fucking week. You know, like, I'd say probably once every training block, sometimes maybe twice. Sometimes you might go after it 2 weeks in a row, but most of the time, you're probably gonna have that one PR that you might be shooting for each training block.
I will say, though, going back to, like, people who ask you about how much you lift, the only time outside of a gym setting that someone has asked me how much I can bench or how much I can lift, and it's only been bench press, have been guys that want to fight my friends, because they come up to me and whatever, they're talking shit, and it's like, how much do you bench? And I tell them, and they're like, oh shit, that's a lot of weight. Ego boost, one, but number two, that does not translate into getting into a fight.
No.
I know for a fact I will not get into a fight, because I don't care what my bench press is. That's just not translating into a fight when I'm blacked out drunk at 2 a.m. outside of a bar.
Yeah.
So don't, and again, you can't compare yourself to other people, because other people have been they don't live your life. They don't have the things going on. They might have been lifting for a longer or shorter amount of time than you have, but it's like, look at where you started and look at how far you've come.
Yeah. I think sometimes the reason your ego gets in the way is because part of you is identifying with how strong you are. And
I mean, that's me.
Yeah. I think most people, they kind of need to, as Mark Manson would say, you need to kill yourself in terms of, like, kill your identity. Your identity is made up. It's not a real thing. When you're like, oh, well, I'm a powerlifter. It's like, no, you're a person. You're a human being, and you enjoy powerlifting. That's a hobby of yours. You enjoy getting stronger. It's a hobby that has nothing to do with who you are as a person, of how much weight you can pick up off the floor or squat.
And just to take it a step further, like, my identity has been my strength. My strength has been my identity for years. But whenever someone has something nice to say about me, never once has someone said how much I can lift. It's all about the characteristics of who I am as a person that define me as a person, not the number that I'm lifting.
And even then, what would feel better? Like, yes, your strength has played a role in your identity, but even knowing that, what would feel better in terms of a compliment if someone said, man, that guy Zach, he's strong as fuck? You would be like, yeah, that feels good.
Right.
But you know, it would feel better if they were like, man, Zach is just a good dude. Like, you'd be hard pressed to find a guy that's willing to go out of his way to do things for other people the way Zach does. And I actually do mean that, by the way. So
fuck your strength, man.
yeah, and stop smiling because I'm being nice. But it is true. Like, Zach is one of the nicest guys I've ever met in my life. Like, he literally offered to help Jessie move into her place. When she got a new place, I was helping her move in. And Zach texted us, and he was just like, hey, do you guys need help? Is there anything I can do? And he had just finished working during the day, and he's like wanting to come over there and help us. Like, we didn't ask, he offers. Like, no one else does that. When you ask your friends if they can help you move, normally it's like, oh, dude, I totally would, but, you know, I got this thing. It's really important. I can't think of it right now, but it's super important.
But again, like, that's kind of what I'm getting at, is I have tied my identity to my strength. But when people have nice things to say about me, it has nothing to do with how much weight I can lift.
Yeah.
It has everything to do with the characteristics and what makes me me. I just put too much value on how strong I am. And that's the reason why I tended to max out so often, was because to me it was, okay, this is how much weight I lifted. This is how good of a person I am. If I can lift this much more weight, I'm going to be a better person. And in defense of that, I will say that's what pushes me to do more, where it's like, okay, I'm taking this principle of what does it take to get stronger? The consistency, the dedication, the nutrition, like all that stuff that ties a role. I can use that as a way to track not how good of a person I am, but just when my strength is going up, I tend to be a better person to be around. And it has nothing to do with how much weight is on the bar, but just the fact that when I am, and this, I've talked about this probably 3 times on this episode, when my health and wellness is my number one priority, I am a better person because everything falls into place. Mm-hmm. So I'm using that as kind of one way to, okay, am I getting stronger? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, that means that most things that it takes to get stronger are falling into place, which makes me a better person. But that's not to say if I'm not getting stronger, I'm a bad person by any means. But it's how you look at it, and always ask yourself, like, why do I care?
But you could also do that without ego lifting, right?
Yes, no, for sure, for sure.
I think when you let the weight on the bar either make you feel like you're more worthy or you're a better person or whatever, like when you give the weight on the bar, that's such an arbitrary metric of self-worth, by the way, because when you look at it, we're like, oh, I want another 45-pound plate on the bar. The only reason you want to see that is because that's the biggest plate that they have in most gyms. If it was 50 pounds, then you wouldn't care about having another 45 pounds on each side. You'd want 50 pounds on each side.
Exactly.
So like to use these plates as a way to assess like how good you are, how worthy you are, whatever, it's dumb. And I say that because if you give it the power to make your day exponentially better, you also give that your strength the power to totally ruin your day.
And that's what I was just about to say. It's the power's behind the value you give it.
Yeah, it's the same thing when people get so overly excited about, oh, I hit a new low while they're trying to lose weight. Yeah, I hit a new low weight in today. And that's great and all, but when you get so excited about that, you're also now giving the scale the power to fucking ruin your day, because that's what's going to happen the next day after you hit that new low. The next day, you weigh a pound or two heavier, and then it kind of slowly drops down, and you end up seeing the weekly average goes down. But like when you see that drop and the new low is like 3 pounds lower than your average, you get upset because you won't see that weight again for like a week on the scale.
Right.
And so you have to be careful. While the goal is to get stronger, you have to also understand when you give that goal too much focus and too much emphasis in your life, when you don't hit those PRs, you feel like shit about yourself, or you just feel like it just fucking ruined your day. You're in a mood the rest of the day. You're kind of irritable, and you're just pissed.
And I'm playing devil's advocate here, but it's also when you're going through a program, you want to know it's working, so you want to keep testing your PRs to see if the numbers, Jesus, you want to see if the number's going up. Mm-hmm. You should be able to determine that throughout the program of like, all right, I just hit, a 5x3 with RPE 4, and this was the weight that I used. You don't need a 1 rep max to tell you you're getting stronger, but that's what the fitness industry puts out. It's here's how strong you are. It's how much weight you can lift in X, Y, or Z.
Yeah, but it's also like if that weight, let's say you come back and you hit the same weight as you did in like one of the later weeks in your program, and you hit it earlier in the next program, and it moves a little bit easier, you know that the strength adaptation is there. Mm-hmm. Like, you know you're getting stronger. We call that an efficiency PR. You hit the same weight for the same reps.
Or you added a pause to it.
Exactly. Maybe instead of feeling 1 rep in reserve, you had 2 or 3.
Yep.
Then you know that you're getting stronger. You don't have to test that max right now, but you probably will at some point in the future, maybe a 3-5 rep max. But when you're going through the program, stick to the program and make your goal to not be to lift as much weight as possible, but your goal to be, I'm going to stick to this fucking program for like 12 weeks, and then we'll assess my progress after that.
But that's the fault that the industry has put out there, is they say the only way to progress is to lift heavier. They don't talk about the other 15 ways you can progress a movement. Mm-hmm. It's all about lifting more weight, and it's the quick fix. It's increase your bench press in 30 days. It's never like, can you stick to a program for 4 months or 3 months, whatever it is, and see your strength go up that way? Because that's not marketable.
Yeah, I mean, shit. You could add a tempo. You could add a pause. You could add reps. I mean, there's so many different ways that you could do. You could increase your range of motion. You could improve your form. Those are all ways to get
feel
stronger.
it where you're supposed to feel it.
Exactly. But I mean, yeah, I think the foolproof way of avoiding ego lifting is hire a coach or run any program you can find online and actually stick to it.
And just disassociate the weight on the bar with your value as a person.
Thank you for watching this episode of 5-Year Plan. If you like what we're doing here on the show, be sure to like and subscribe.
If you want one of your questions answered on a future podcast, you can write into our website at www.5yearplanmedia.com, or you can write into our Instagram page at 5yearplanmedia. You can find me on Instagram at @Z_Condon.
And you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at ConnorYoungman_.
Peace.
See ya.